The Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Steven Sakash here again with my co-host, Tulio Siragusa. And we're going to have a wonderful conversation in one of the areas we love talking about, which is the pet business. And so today we're meeting with Orlando Cat Café, and we're going to be looking at how some businesses are built around kind of a simple but powerful act of connection. And a cat cafe kind of brings together, hospitality, animal welfare, community, and commerce all in one space. And guests come in for coffee, comfort, for connection, and the cats receive the visibility, socialization, and the possibility of adoption. And local partners all come together around this shared purpose. And so we're going to dive into that today. Tulio, tell us about our special guest today.
It'll be my pleasure. Our guest today is Sandra Cagan. She is the founder and owner of Orlando Cat Café. Sandra founded Orlando Cat Café in 2016 after seeing an NBC Nightly News report about cat cafes and recognizing an opportunity to combine her business experience with her lifelong love of cats and shelter support. The cafe became the first cat cafe in Florida. Orlando Cat Café partners with SPCA Florida and Minch Coffee to create a space where guests can enjoy a cafe experience while spending time with adoptable cats. Today, Sandra is also expanding the concept through a franchise model designed around animal welfare, community, and smart growth. Sandra, welcome to the Bliss Business Podcast. I was going to do the whole thing in meow, but...
Thank you very much, and thank you for not doing it all in meow.
Yes, Tulio, thank you.
Meow.
Sandra, Tulio, and keep the puns at a minimum. I think, Tulio, as well. I know we're going to have them.
We love Cat Cafe, so
I know you're a big fan. But so, Sandra, kind of, if you could walk us through kind of that moment when you first kind of realized this could be the business you wanted to get into.
Sure. So that nightly news segment was on December 31st, 2014. And you know how at the end of the news, they always do the human interest story. So this was about a cat cafe that had opened in New York City. In 2015, I was about to turn 50. So you guys can do the math. And I knew that I just wanted to do something a little bit different, something that might give back to my community. I heard once I was at a conference and I heard a speaker say that when you turn 50, you stop thinking about what you're going to put on your resume and you start thinking about what people are going to say at your eulogy. So I knew that I wanted to make some sort of a difference, and I wanted to do something other than maybe write a check, to a local animal shelter or whatever. So that story stayed with me for several days. And I thought, I'm a lifelong lover of cats. I've got a lot of experience with property management, property development. This is something that I probably could do. And so that's where Orlando Cat Café was born.
Very nice. Now, a cat cafe is a very unique experience. It's an interesting business. I've been to 2 of them with my kids, and we love it. And it's because people, like different things, different experience. It's not just a transaction. It's something very unique. What do you think guests are really looking for when they walk through the doors?
Well, I would say we have a couple different customers. One is certainly looking for a quiet, cozy coffee house, a coffee house with a message behind it and a good cause behind it. So we have many customers who just come for the coffee house experience. We have another segment of our population that comes visits because this is something that is truly unique. It's a relaxing experience. There's a lot of stress in the world. There's a lot of devices that are constantly competing for our attention. There's something to be said about going into a quiet space with a bunch of kitty cats where you can just kind of come and unplug. And then, of course, for serious adopters, this is the gold standard for finding a connection. So often people will go to a shelter, they're rows of cages and you say, oh, well, I like the gray one or I like the orange one. That's not a way to choose a lifelong friend. So here you get to see the cats interact with you, interact with other animals, with other cats, with other people, and you can make a better informed decision on the adoption.
Yeah, I've never been, but I can just picture, like, cats have all these different personality types, right? And so being able to experience that versus, like you said, going through, and looking at, like, here's an orange one, here's a black, but just being around them, being able to experience it, that's probably the best way to go about, adopting
And
a cat.
I have to tell you, the first couple times I saw it, I was really amazed. But now, after 10 years, I've seen it so often that the cat truly does pick the family. I have seen it, like I said, the first couple times I saw it, I thought, wow, this is like so unusual. Like a customer, a guest will come in and they'll say, we saw the gray one online and we would like to meet the gray one. But the gray one wants nothing to do with them. But the orange one, who's been laying on our printer in the back for the last 2 weeks, who's never ventured out into the cat play area, is suddenly on their lap, making biscuits on them. And we're like, we've never seen this cat on anyone's lap before. And like I said, the first couple times I saw it, I was so blown away by it. But now we see it so often, we know the cat picks the family very often.
How do you, in this business, how do you balance kind of that hospitality experience with that animal welfare mission? Is there challenges there? Or
I would say there's a few challenges that are maybe unique to our business that might not be unique to other businesses because we have live animals. So I think it's important for us to realize that this is the cat's home. And the guests that come into the Orlando Cat Cafe, they are guests in the cat's home. So we really always try to put the experience of the cat.
Is that just me, or did we?
No, I think we lost her for a second.
All right.
While we're getting her back, Tula, one of the things that I've noticed is working with dogs, in our office, is it does definitely change the atmosphere of the place you work at.
I love cats. I'm more of a dog person. I love cats, but they have a unique personality too. And in those cafe, you could see the different personalities. You see the playful one, the sleepy one. It's pretty interesting to watch. And she was right. Some of them will come up to you and want to hang out with you, and some of them want nothing to do with you. So it's pretty interesting. Okay, Sandra, we're just talking.
You broke off there at the end of the middle of your answer. If you want to pick it back up. Oh, lost.
Can you hear us?
I think she's lost audio there.
Okay. All right.
Hold on a second.
I can hear her typing though. I'm gonna kick around and bring him back in. Let's see if that fixes it.
Okay. Yeah, let's try that.
I think she's rebooting. I didn't actually kick her out. We lost her.
So Tulio, you were kind of explaining.
It's an interesting experience. You can watch and observe the different behaviors when you see them all, like 20, 30, 40 different cats in this setting, and how they interact with people. And it is relaxed. Like she was saying, you have a nice cappuccino or a snack and you could sit there for an hour or two. And I was surprised how wonderful of an experience it was. And I noticed the one thing, that both cat cafes had a lot of air filters, like HEPA air filters, because some people have allergies. And there was, like, it kept the environment really clean and didn't have any itchy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost you. I lost you for a moment, but I'm back now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
When you bring up the HEPA filters, and that is something that is very important, that when we built this, I think I mentioned that my background is in property management, property development, so that when we built this, we built it correctly with exactly that type of system that you're talking about. So there's no cross-contamination of any allergens. So if you have a cat allergy, you can be in the cafe section and not have a problem at all.
Yeah, it was really like my wife has allergies to cats, right? So we didn't have any problem. We were there for an hour or two, no problems at all. And I was like, oh, these filters work. I took notice of which filters they were using. I'm like, we should get those for the house. So yeah, it's really, it's been a great experience and it is relaxing. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, we just filled in some time while we
Thank
were.
you. I don't know what happened.
But I'm curious about the community aspect of it. One thing I experienced, it felt different. It wasn't just like being at a cafe. It had that community vibe like being at a cafe because there were people reading books and having coffee and just hanging out. But it's a different kind of vibe. At least that was my experience. So what makes the cafe feel more like a hub, like a community hub? Can you?
Well, I think for the guests that come for the cafe, they know that there's a mission behind it. So they could very well be coming for the cafe and for the food and beverage for the cafe, but they still understand that there's a mission behind it. And I think everybody can kind of, get into the idea of helping shelter animals. And so I think they can see this as a different way of supporting the plight of shelter animals. We've had just shy of 3,700 adoptions since we opened. That's a big number.
That is a big number. And so talk about a little bit about the stage of your business. You're now going from like the one location, right? And now you're looking to scale that.
Right.
And this is a big step.
It's a big step because we're the first in the country that's doing it. So it's very exciting being the first. It's also a little scary being the first. Everyone knows what a burger franchise is, or a taco franchise, or a fitness franchise. Everybody knows what that is. Cat Cafe is a little bit different for people to understand. But my thought behind this is we've had such success with Orlando Cat Cafe in Florida that the fastest way to replicate that public-private collaboration, which is what we're all about, was to go the franchise market. And so the idea is to partner with other shelters all across America. And this is just a better and a more humane way to deal with the overpopulation, especially of cats. Cats are unfortunately the most at risk in a shelter environment. There's just too many of them. And so they are at risk, unfortunately, of needless euthanasia just because there's no room for them at the inn. And that is a problem that we're hoping that we can certainly not fix, but certainly cut down on.
Yeah, well, if you got 37 adoptions at one location, so we add another 10, that's 37,000 over time, right? So
that's exactly right.
Scale the impact.
Yeah, it makes a big impact.
And
now, I was curious when I visited my first one, like how they actually support the operation, and these guys actually, you pay a fee to spend time there, and then there was obviously consumption of products, and I was disheartened to learn how little margin there is in that business, at least in just the adoption piece. So those things, the community is really what keeps this going. Is there something unique about what you guys are doing to help those?
Yeah, there really is. Under Orlando Cat Cafe's model, 100% of the adoption fee goes to the rescuing agency. Some of the smaller mom and pop cat cafes will go and adopt their cats from the local agency, and then, for lack of a better word, turn around and sell them, which is how they make their living. Our model is quite different, where 100% of the adoption fee goes to the rescuing agency. That adoption fee is oftentimes a little higher than they might be able to get in the shelter because of the unique experience at Orlando Cat Cafe. People will pay a little bit higher of a premium for the cat or the kitten. And then, our income comes from a full service cafe, which is not something that a lot of cat cafes have, which we do. We've got a full service cafe. We have a modest entrance fee to the cat play area, and then sale of merchandise. We have quite a bit of merchandise, branded merchandise, t-shirts, plush dolls, keychains, mugs, stickers. that help the cause as well.
So you've got the challenge of scaling and making sure it's, sustainable model business wise, the profitability. I think you've also got this big challenge of trying to scale, love and compassion and build systems around that so that the guest experience and the animal care and, even partnerships and everything, it all works well. You're probably, this is probably what you've been really thinking through for quite a while. What kind of systems are going to be most important, do you think, in helping serve both cats and people well in that manner?
Right. So we've got 10 years experience, and we made some mistakes along the way too that we have learned now from our experience. And we've taken all that experience that we have and put it in a 500 plus page operations manual that covers the operations of the cafe and then the cats, because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on with cats. I think the misconception that people have is that this is just, a fun job. You get to sit around and play with cats all day long. And that's not exactly what happens by us. But we have like I said, a comprehensive training manual, and then we're looking for the right partners. And that's something that we are doing as the franchisor, is that we're going out and finding the shelter partner, because what we're looking for in a shelter partner, and then we can help facilitate that introduction and then maintain that relationship. That is the key, the most important key in the Cat Cafe is the shelter relationship.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that collaboration? One thing I love about it, like if you're in a shelter, the cats, like you said, they stay in a cage. They don't get interaction. It's kind of a lonely place for those poor animals, waiting and hoping somebody takes them home. But in a cafe, they basically have a home. They're not there alone. People come in, they get to interact. So it's great even for them. So talk to us a little bit about what that collaboration looks like. Did some of them push back? Are they supportive? What's that been like? And why is this so important?
Yeah, I think for most shelters, they can recognize the opportunity that this creates for them. We've had year-to-year growth. Our shelter partner in Orlando is SPCA Florida. We've had year-to-year growth on the number of adoptions. Last year, we adopted 489 of their cats and kittens. From a shelter's point of view, that frees up 489 spaces where they can maybe pull from a kill shelter or from the county shelter. It's 489 more lives that they can save because now they have the space for that. So I think most shelters recognize the benefit of working with an Orlando Cat Cafe and how that can benefit them. There's a relationship though that needs to be maintained. We rely on the shelter to send us the cats and the kittens that will do well in this kind of environment. Not every cat or kitten is a candidate for this environment. They have to have, some socialization. They have to get along well with other cats. We have anywhere between 20 and 30 cats living with us at Orlando Cat Cafe at a time. So you need the kinds of cats that are going to do well in that environment. And so they have a feline behaviorist on site, and they choose the cats and kittens that would do well in our environment.
Thinking about that, and what you kind of mentioned, you've got your property background experience management. You've got like you said, 10 years of making mistakes, of trying to, get it right. And I think, and you mentioned this whole kind of space is really these mom and pop kind of businesses, and they're probably all going through that same growth learning curve that you went through. So this is a huge advantage for anyone who's really kind of coming into this business, is you've got that 500 page.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I think are very well-meaning. Their heart is in the right place, and they simply don't know what to do. And so what we're trying to do is make this a little bit easier for people to get into the space and have the support of a franchisor with the 10 years experience, with the mistakes that we've made, with the ways that we know how to solve problems, backing them. Because this is, like I said, it's something new. And so you don't necessarily have the support of others who are in the industry. We are the industry right now.
Yeah. All right. We've got a question from YouTube listener. Let's bring that up. So who would be your ideal franchisee?
So we are being a little bit fussy because we want to get this right.
As we should.
So, right. So we are looking for people maybe who are in their third act, who are looking like I was to do something a little bit different. It would be, of course, nice if you loved cats. But really, the hospitality aspect of it is important to us, that they understand what the real mission of the Orlando Cat Cafe is. We have many franchises out there that have a philanthropic component to it. We have a lot more than just a philanthropic component. That is pretty much the business. You obviously can make money doing it, because otherwise we wouldn't be a franchise. But I think for the people who really understand what the mission is, that's who we're looking for. So we're looking for maybe people who are in their third act, who are looking to do something a little bit different, or somebody who's always wanted to do this and didn't know how to do this. I think we offer a very good roadmap.
So we've got another question here from LinkedIn. Let's pull that up here. So how has your definition of success changed since you opened Orlando Cat Cafe?
That's a good question. So I really look at the cat adoptions. People will ask me quite frequently, what is your favorite cat adoption story? And I honestly say all of them, because I know from personal experience how much adopting a pet brings to a family's life. And so it's not only that shelter cat or kitten who got adopted and found a family, but that's a family then that has been changed, forever, for, to quote Wicked, for good. And that's very powerful. So if I can look at the amount of cats and kittens that we have saved, that we have adopted, that we have found homes for, I think that's how I manage success. That's how I define it.
Nice. So in your Orlando Cat Cafe franchise material, you described the concept as operating at a crossroad of, I have to say it now with pun, purpose.
Perfect. Purpose. Yes.
And purpose and commerce. What does that phrase mean to you?
So I'm a big believer in public-private collaboration. I think there's some things that the private sector can do a lot better than the public sector can, and I think this was a perfect example of that. Shelters can only do so much. The shelter system can only do so much. I hear stories. Oftentimes, I'm on the board of the Florida Association of Animal Welfare Organizations. So many of our board members and our members now are adding on to their shelters. So instead of a 2,000 square foot shelter, maybe they have a 3,000 square foot shelter. And that's great, and that's needed. But in my eyes, sometimes that just reminds me of a jail. That's a 2,000 square foot jail as opposed to a 3,000 square foot jail. This is something that is a totally different experience, and a way that you can get the public involved to understand a little bit more of the plight of what shelter animals are going through. We take the experience when we have guests come in. We give them the experience of being around the cats, but also educating them a little bit more about what this all means, the importance of spay neuter in controlling the population. So we, I think, are able to do more than what a shelter can do.
You know, thinking about the kind of that purpose-driven approach, for what do you think entrepreneurs in general should understand before trying to expand with a purpose-driven business? Is there any challenges there, do you think, or does that make it easier?
I feel like it makes it easier, to be honest, because it's something that I love. It's something that I'm passionate about, and that it makes it a little bit easier to get up in the morning and go about it. Starting a business is hard. Starting a industry when there's nobody else in the industry is hard. But when you love what you do, it really is true. It does not seem like work. And what you said before, a few minutes ago, of 3,700 adoptions times 10, that's a big number. And times 20 and times 30. And that's always kind of the eye on the ball that I have, is how much of a difference this can make. And I don't think you get that feeling of purpose maybe in a different kind of industry, nothing against a food service industry or something, but at the end of the day, you're selling a burger and you're not necessarily changing anybody's life. And in this business, every day, we are changing people's lives and we are changing feline lives.
You said something about sort of targeting or desiring those who may be on their third act. And animal welfare can be very emotionally rewarding and a lot of fun, but there's a business that has growth and that has a certain level of demand, and that can come with some stress and challenges. So how do you help them maintain that compassion for that fun thing, that third act thing, but also the discipline needing to maintain operationally a business, a running business?
Well, I think there's a lot of people who maybe want to go into the shelter business and then they don't realize how draining the shelter business is. I have to say that with the Orlando Cat Cafe, we get all the positive stuff. We get all the positive stuff of shelter experience without any of the negative stuff of shelter experience. We don't have to deal with people who are surrendering their pets. We don't have to deal with a whole lot of medical stuff. We're not washing, dishes and cleaning litter boxes all day long. We do that. We do quite a bit of that, but not all day long. Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, you're going to go into any business and you're going to have stress and strife with any business, but here you get a little bit of a break. Things aren't going well. You sit down for a while. You got a cat on your lap, and you get a little bit of perspective. But yeah, I think listen, in any business you have that, but here you've got the added component of doing good, and that's a powerful motivator. It's a powerful motivator to be in a business that does good.
Yeah.
As more people kind of look for businesses, I think, that reflect their values, we see this kind of trend growing. Is there something that you think, like pet and animal welfare, can teach other sectors about maybe community connection or building something within your community? Is there any lessons there that you think might be valuable?
Maybe just not looking at the same way of doing things. The shelters that are adding on another 5,000 square feet to their shelter, okay, then you've just doubled the size of the jail that the animals are in. It's just a different paradigm, a different way of looking at things that can be really a win-win for the community. We have people come in, we have classes, we do yoga with the kitties, we do painting with the kitties, and we have many times people come in that maybe did not think they were big cat people, and then they come in and they are around them and they see what it's all about, and then it changes their perspective on cats. And if you're going to go get a cup of coffee or a muffin, why not go and contribute meaningfully to solving a real world problem. I mean, that there's not a lot of businesses, I think, that can look at that and say you're solving a real world problem, but you're doing it in a very convenient and comfortable way.
I watched an interview this morning, and it was a gentleman who's a multi-billionaire now. He's actually going to be running for governor in Georgia. He's telling his story, how he went from foster care to foster care, had very humble beginnings. And then what he figured out was, he goes, I've never sold anything in my life. I just found what people need that would make their life better, and then try to find the solution to help make their lives better. And he goes, and that's all I've ever focused on my whole life. And it's rewarded him. And it makes me think, like, sometimes businesses forget why they're in business. You started because you were trying to make someone's life better, or solve a problem for someone, or in some cases for a pet or an animal. So the way you guys are caring for, you're impacting multiple people, you're impacting the animal, you're impacting the shelter, who have their own challenges of trying to operate, something that's good, but running out of space. There's so much going on, and it's taking care of so many different people. I think businesses can take notice of that. Like, if you have a business that helps multiple people, you got a good formula.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, and what we've been very successful with for the last 10 years in Orlando, which is why I'm excited to roll this out in different communities. There's almost no community that wouldn't benefit from an Orlando Cat Cafe. If you're anywhere near a metropolitan area, for sure that this is a win. This is a win-win for the community, for the animal shelter, for the animals, for the people, for the adopters. It's a better way to make an informed decision. When we make an adoption, we always strive to make a perfect match, not just a match, but a perfect match. And we're able to do that because we can see within a short period of time the animal's personality, and we're able to make a better connection with the people that come in. The animal can make a better connection with the people that come in, but we're also able to say, hey, this is a kitty who really likes to be kind of a couch potato. This is a more active kitty, and we're able to help make an informed decision. It's very, very gratifying when we ask for people to send us their alumni updates. And that is another part of the job that's one of my favorite parts, is to get an alumni update. Hey, we adopted Sebastian 3 weeks ago, and here's a picture of him, and here he is snuggling with our pet dog or our other cat, and he's made himself right at home. And they always end with, we're so happy. We're so happy that you were able to introduce Sebastian into our lives, and we couldn't be happier having him. Those are very meaningful emails to get. You get a lot of garbage emails during the day. Those are very meaningful emails to get.
Thinking about like your change in careers, how would you say, you went from like the property management, real estate kind of world, and, doing that grind, and now you're doing this. How would you say that emotionally, like, the difference is between the two? And is that the biggest thing that,
for me, yeah, for me it is. Our company builds and manages apartment complexes, and so yes, there was the feeling in that, and providing a home for someone. But me personally, I always felt I wasn't the one who was actually in there constructing it. I wasn't putting up the 2x4s in their apartment. And I think maybe that would have been a little bit more meaningful to me if that was the company that was doing it. But here I can really see a real difference in the work that I do, in the amount of cats that have come through our doors that have found forever homes, and especially maybe the cats with the special needs, maybe the cats who are missing a limb or an eye, or in some cases 2 eyes, and making that connection for them, finding them, helping to find them a home. It is a very, it's an emotional experience, and it really it fills me every day rather than drains me every day is the best way I think I could put that.
And that's probably a good segue to the next question is, what role do you think love should play in business?
I wish it had a bigger role in more businesses. Sometimes it's hard to, property management, property development, it's hard to really find a whole lot of love in that. But here, obviously we love all the kiddies that come through our door. We love seeing the connection that they make. We love hearing from the adopters that they have, found their forever friend. And so I think people need to be reminded of that on a daily basis. I don't think a whole lot of people go to work and feel the love. But I can honestly say that we feel that love every day at Orlando Cat Cafe, and I think it really does make a big difference in your day and in your life. And work is a big part of one's life, and why not have that if you can.
And I was thinking about that. The way you put it just before I asked that question was, it fills you versus drains you. And I think so many businesses are these factories that kind of drain people versus
exactly. It's a nature of work. They always, what's that joke? If it was fun, they wouldn't call it work. I think what they say, but it is. It's a very soul-filling experience every day.
Now, for entrepreneurs who want to build a business around a cause, obviously that's what you've done, and you care about it deeply, we can tell. But there's other people who might also have a cause that they care deeply about, maybe haven't figured out how to create a business around it. What would be practical advice that you would offer them?
I would say talk to the partners in the field to get a better idea of what of the problems that they are trying to fix. You may have your own idea of what problem you're trying to fix. Let's say when I'm working with a shelter, I may think I understand the problem that they're trying to fix, but maybe I don't know until I actually ask the question. And I would say with any other industry, go and talk to the partners in that industry and find out a little bit more of what their pain points are, what problems they're trying to fix, and then look at a different way of doing it. And Orlando Cat Cafe is a different method of adoption. I like to think back when I was a little girl. We had a pet shop in the area, and their gimmick to get people into the store was to have some wild animal, maybe a baby tiger cub or a orangutan or something, and they would bring that animal in, and they would advertise it, and it would attract people to come in. So we look at this practice now as barbaric and cruel, and I would like to say that at that time, maybe we should have known better, maybe we didn't know better, I don't know. But we look at this practice now in 2026 as completely barbaric and animal cruelty. So I bring that up because, maybe in 50 years, people will say having cats in a shelter and a caged experience is barbaric, where it should be, more of a cafe kind of experience. So I would say talk to the partners in the field, find out what they're trying to solve, and then build a better mousetrap, which is what we've done.
Nice. All right. So for you want to learn more about you, maybe interested in looking at a Cat Cafe, how can they get to know you? How can they reach you? What do you recommend?
You can go to orlandocatcafe.com, which is the website for our location in Orlando. You can go to orlandocatcafefranchise.com, and you can get much more information on the franchise. Fill out a little getting to know you form. We're going to call you back and talk to you and start a conversation going. You come out to our location in Orlando, kind of take a look at the behind the scenes. Nothing is off limits. You come in, take a look at it, and see if it's something that you want to do. it's a pretty painless experience. We're looking now at growth in the Southeast United States, but would certainly not turn our back to any good opportunity that came up for us and for any potential franchisee who wants to join us.
Sandra, thank you for joining us. I love taking these different angles with different approaches from businesses just to see some of these, how these can apply to other businesses. And I felt like there was a lot that our listeners could pull from that. And thank you to our listeners too for the questions. And I think, that the concept at the heart of conscious business is really creating value in ways that serve life, that serve community and connection. And you can kind of see that example here. And I loved how you kind of explained the problem and explained your solution. And you can really see how we need to rethink some of our current systems to build a little bit more compassion, to build a little more love into what we do. So thank you for joining us, everyone, on the Bliss Business Podcast, and we'll see you next time.